I think this is like slow motion watching democracy die. We've been watching it throughout this Trump presidency, and I think what we've seen in the last couple days is absolutely horrifying, and the fact that there are Republicans that are defending it is what makes it even more horrifying. Look, regardless of what we know about the whistleblower or don't, Donald Trump has already admitted to doing this. We have at least a partial transcript of a call that completely confirms that this is in fact what he did. He is also blatantly lying about Joe Biden. I mean, the entire reason that he even is asking for this never happened.
Are these people sick, delusional, psychotic, really bad liars, or just Democrats? The slow death of democracy under President Trump? All right, I'm sorry, but you've got to be absolutely out of your mind to believe that. We had the slow death of democracy under one Barackmas Obamamus, but I'm not even going to go there today. But what I will do is say, how can you look at real evidence? I realize for 3 years, Kirsten and Mr. Cooper, you were part of the lying, legacy, corporate, corrupt, mass media propaganda machine that was pushing collusion, delusion. And now when you see actual facts in front of you, well, those you dismiss, and then you take what's a non-fact and you twist it and contort it, and you try to make it say something that it's not. After having read the transcript, after having had the transcript fully and not in selected format the way CNN, also known as Airport Terminal TV, likes to present information to their viewership, when you read it in its full context, there was no quid pro quo. The president did not put any pressure on the Ukrainian president. Oh, and by the way, Kirsten, how come you didn't mention the fact that in a press conference that the two presidents did together, he said repeatedly, referring to the president from Ukraine, there was no pressure from Trump. There was no threat of a loss of funding. He did not ask me to do him any political favors. He simply said, look, there is some corruption and it was stopped. You might ought to look into why was it stopped. And I was going to do that whether or not the president asked me to or not. Boom, there it is. But see, those are things called facts. Those are the truth. But you see, Democrats, well, to be quite honest, they can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
So the president made it all up about Joe Biden. Give me a break.
Biden does have a problem here, by the way. I mean, I have to say, $50,000 a month for Hunter Biden, clearly to be selling influence, because otherwise no one would ever pay him that kind of money for a company that, frankly, was pretty corrupt and has been before and has been since under
And is that Joe Biden's fault or problem?
No, but it's hard to imagine Joe Biden wasn't aware of it. And I think that I expect that President Obama, if he had known about the reality of this situation, would have probably told Biden, get rid of this.
Byron D. LeBeckwith. Now, that name may not mean anything to you, but certainly to black Americans, in particular those who were at the forefront of the very beginning of the civil rights movement. Mr. LeBeckwith shot and killed Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was the civil rights leader preceding Martin Luther King. Medgar Evers was gunned down in the back in his driveway in front of his wife and children. And Byron D. LeBeckwith was tried not once but twice and acquitted. Even when the governor of his state showed up in glad hand and shook his hand, and that was a sign to that white jury, don't you dare convict this man. But you see, Byron had a problem. He had a big mouth. And he openly bragged at Klan meetings about shooting a person of non-white description and getting away with it. And it got printed in a book. And so, to set the record straight, the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi reopened the case some 20 plus years later and got the conviction. Why? Because Byron D. LeBeckwith had a big mouth. And so does Joe Biden.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here, and I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
Nancy Botox Pelosi has tried to make much over the fact that the reason they have to really now do this special inquiry into impeachment, which they've been doing since the day Donald Trump put his hand on the Bible and took the oath of office, but now he's on double secret probation. She said that the president withheld information from a whistleblower to Congress, and the IDC considered this a credible complaint. Well, just so happens that the chief of the IDC appeared before Congress today, and Devin Nunes asked him an interesting question.
Is it normal for the President of the United States to have their conversations leak out? This is the third time.
I would have to leave that to the White House to respond to that, their ranking member. But to me, the President of the United States conversation with any other head of state, I would consider a privileged conversation.
Yeah, one might think that other world leaders may not want to talk to the president anymore for fear that what they talk about is going to become front page news for the New York Times, the Washington Compost, and CNN and PMSNBC. So this really impedes the ability of the president. Now, we're going to flip the switch here just a little bit, because the president did declassify, and now we're going to be able to read in its entirety the official complaint. We've already read the phone script, and again, there's no there. But see, Democrats are really good at, you're looking at something and they're telling you that what you're looking at, you're not looking at. They're the type that you can look at a red door and they'll tell you it's green. No, it's red. No, it's green. You got a problem. How can you not see that as green? Are you some kind of racist against red? It's mind-blowing. We read the transcript. There's no quid pro quo there, but we're told that's exactly what we're reading, even though it's not there. It doesn't say that, but that it's there. You just don't see it. See, again, they're either psychotic, they're delusional, they're liars, or they're just really good Democrats. So as they try to make you think that you're seeing something that you're really not seeing, as they try to fuel up this impeachment, I cannot help believe that, again, the president has played 4D chess here. I said it a few days ago, and now some other members within conservative media, in particular alternative conservative media, including Stick Hexenhammer on YouTube, Sticks said today he thinks that maybe Donald Trump is the whistleblower. I said that Monday. I do not put it past Trump to make something like this happen on purpose. Because what has he done? He's got the Dems now. He had them in a premature, climactic, orgasmic state in that we got him now. Chris feeling up his legs, Matthews, we got him now. The transcript comes out. Nope, he didn't pressure the Ukrainian president. Now we have the full complaint of the so-called whistleblower, who's not really a whistleblower. In fact, even the chief of the IDC said today, hold it, time out. I really don't understand why I'm here, because this whistleblower is not a whistleblower. He's giving you second and third hand information. This is nothing that he witnessed himself. He was asked by Devin Nunes if he, as the chief of the IDC, would have recommended to Congress and taken this individual's complaint seriously. And he said, well, this individual did not fall under in other words, the individual that's making this complaint is not a member of the intelligence community, therefore he didn't have any jurisdiction. It fell out his purview. Somebody else said, yeah, we got to get this one before Congress. How much you want to bet somebody who doesn't like Trump? That all said, the president knows this. He knows he is surrounded by the swamp. And sometimes I think he does things so that the swamp reveals who they are, so that he can figure out, even within his own circle, who to trust and who not to trust. But he knew these Democrats would not be able to contain themselves, that they would go hot and heavy after this and scream for impeachment, and this would be more exposing to the American people just how absolutely crazed and hate-filled these individuals are. So yes, I think Donald Trump is the whistleblower. And we do have a little case history on our side that Donald Trump, he likes to make his own case, even when he's not him, if you catch my drift.
What's your name again? John Miller.
In 1991, a People magazine reporter recorded a call from someone identifying himself as John Miller, who said he was representing Donald Trump. The recording has now been published by the Washington Post.
And I'm somebody that knows, and I think somebody that he trusts and likes.
You might have noticed Miller sounds a lot like Trump. For about 14 minutes, Miller talked and boasted mostly about Trump's exploits with women.
Actresses, people that you write about, just call to see if they can go out with them and things.
Including, he said, Madonna.
Well, she called and wanted to go out with him, that I can tell you.
Miller revealed that Trump had no interest in reconciling with ex-wife Ivana.
He's living with Marla, and he's got 3 other girlfriends.
And he said Trump was already breaking up with girlfriend Marla Maples.
He's coming out of a marriage and he's starting to do tremendously well financially. And he just thought it was too soon to make any commitment to anybody.
Hey, I am for this president, but that's him. That's him. But you know what? It's okay with me if he doesn't want to say that's him. I don't care. He may not have been the actual whistleblower, but I have been in the ministry and I have been in administration and management most of my adult working life. And I can tell you this, that there are times when I've needed things to get out and I knew who to say the wrong thing in front of, that they would then say something to someone else who would then somehow say it to the person who would spill it publicly. Let's just say the president, again playing 4D chess, has won. Because the American people, what they're really more interested about, and I think that's why Kirsten at the beginning of this over there on CNN, well, this is the president accusing Joe Biden of something he didn't do. The polling is now revealing Americans are more interested in what Joe Biden and his son were doing in the Ukraine than the president asking the Ukrainian president to look into it.
No, not judgment, but details. Because that's something I've heard from some voters, maybe not at your events, but details.
No, but the details are irrelevant in terms of decision making.
Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. That way, well, you still have to smack the bell to get notification, but please share these videos. Help us increase our platform and our exposure. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments, your compliments, and your commentary. I do read them.